Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show where a man completely immersed in anime culture torments his co-host, who is only allowed to watch the shows featured here. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/animeoutofcontext. Alongside over 100 hours of exclusive bonus material, all episodes uploaded to Patreon are completely ad-free, even to non-patrons. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And my heart is filled with nothing but love and fuck orbs.
I'm Sean Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
God, that's a wild one. That's a wild one to think about. People are gonna ask, what if this is their first episode?
Hey man, it's a wild episode for you to join in on, because hey baby, we're filled with love for each other, for all of you. Just generally, it's our anniversary.
Yes, Ram, it's our anniversary. And coincidentally, our anniversary is falling on, the day after Valentine's Day. So really,
we're just overloaded with love.
Overloaded with love and fuck orbs, apparently.
And fuck orbs. This, just a teeny little fuck orb.
Just a little one in the corner, a little fuck orb in the corner, you know?
As a treat.
But Remington, 7 years, my guy.
Yeah.
That's insane.
This
is the most I've ever seen you commit to anything aside from your girlfriend.
I would say that, it's killed me on the inside quite substantially.
But that's okay. It's for content.
It's for content, so it's okay.
But with that in mind, Remington, I actually do have something very special planned for this week.
Ooh la la.
Yes. It's special in multiple ways. It's special in that it's a heavily requested show.
Oh.
It's special in the fact that, well, it's our anniversary.
It is.
It's special in the fact that I'm also giving it to you as an opportunity to really clarify and bring forth your opinion on a very specific trope.
If I've talked about it before, I have to assume that I was pretty abundantly clear.
Yes. But I think it's been a long time since you've had a chance to really get into it.
So who knows? Maybe I've changed my mind, or maybe I have subtle nuances that are different.
And I'm of the opinion that the trope in general, in this particular show, is done quite well, and in a way that
Is this gonna be some tsundere bullshit?
No.
All right.
No, it's not an anime trope. It's
okay.
It's a broader narrative trope.
Okay.
Yeah. No, like if it was oh man, this is our anniversary tsundere special. If I was doing that, I wouldn't be so lovey-dovey and upfront with you. I'd be very coy and cold at first. And,
of course.
I would put a little bit more of an edge to things. Get that tsundere flavor going. No.
All right. So what is this trope?
Ram, this is the chance for you to really delve into and explain why you hate Sherlockian characters.
Oh fuck! All right. Okay.
And genuinely, Rem, this is one of my favorite shows from the end of 2023, and it deals with the Sherlockian tropes, but I think it does it in one of the best ways possible, and it's not the main focus of the whole show.
All right, well, here's the deal, all right? Because there's two options.
Okay.
There's two ways that this can go. First, it can genuinely be Sherlockian, in which case it's bad and stupid and dumb, and I hate it. Two, I guess there's three ways. Two, it could go, how would Agatha Christian, where it actually gives a shit about the audience. Three, it goes the Jigsaw route, and it's look how big of a brain, but also it's stupid as fuck enough that you can vaguely enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think those are definitely the three broad strokes categories. Because, Rem, it's no secret that anytime we get a story that has a mystery and a central protagonist who solves said mysteries, that you are, let's just say, hypercritical.
Well, yeah, look, mystery, it's one of my favorite genres of all time, right? I love a damn good mystery. Good mysteries are hard, and people are lazy and or stupid. And so, corners are cut, they don't know how to craft it, they don't think it through, they end up mystery boxing it instead of actually developing a mystery, and it's a goddamn mess. It's an abused genre, which is tragic, because at its peak, it's one of the best.
And what makes, in your opinion, Sherlock the worst, most egregious example of this?
I would say my issues with Sherlock, they're twofold, right?
Okay.
One is about the mystery side of things, one is about the character side of things.
Right.
For the mystery side of things, it's that, hey, here's some random ass bullshit solution involving elements or ingredients that were not introduced to the audience or the reader. And you're supposed to just be like, wow, I guess he is so smart for knowing things I didn't. But intelligence isn't about knowing things that you don't. It's about knowing exactly what you do. And yet you're still able to deduce extremely clever, but still very logical, very solid things from that, right? And that is what actually makes it feel intelligent and impressive and also very fascinating and well done, when you're like, oh man, it's more fun to be on the same page as the detective, be solving it along with them, and then if they still solve it in a more clever way than you, then you can be impressed. And that also relates into the character thing. I hate the trope where human behavior is hyper mechanical and that you can solve humans by insane powers of observation.
Mm-hmm.
Look, all right, I'm a psychology boy.
Yes, you are.
Not only am I a psychology boy, I'm a mentalist boy. So I hyper specialize in reading motherfuckers. Like that, I feel like I know to a greater degree than your average Joe the components involved with such a thing. And that just makes it all the more frustrating when it's instead a wave of the hand wizard powers.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So what you're saying is when there is like a central detective-like character, you want them to first and foremost be a character.
Well, undeniably, they actually have to. They can't just be, look how clever I am. And if they are, look how clever I am, boy, oh boy, they better be fascinating. Like, let's look back to Agatha Christie, all right?
Okay.
With good old Poirot. Poirot is a lot of fun. He's first, great mustache, which is very valuable in a man. Second, he's just quirky and strange and very charming. And it all just works. But if the whole character is just like, oh yes, I'm smart. Not only am I smart, but I'm smarter than you. Fuck off. Shut the hell up.
You want their arrogance to be proper and earned, yeah?
Yeah, proper and earned and compelling. Because I love me a good arrogant character, but
coming from the arrogant character of the podcast.
They need something to pull it off, all right? And so yeah, there's a lot of issues with Sherlockian characters.
So, and also you like it when their knowledge comes from a place that you can understand, yeah?
Yeah.
It's not just like a random bit of trivia. Like, I think the one story in, like, I've read all of the Sherlock stuff, as have you, but the one that always comes to mind when I think of, well, that's fucking bullshit, is the one that features the lion jellyfish. Yeah, where it's like, oh man, how did this guy get murdered? He just went swimming. He was in a pool and there was a jellyfish in that pool and it killed him.
Yup.
And it's like, oh, of course Sherlock knows about this random ass jellyfish.
But even more egregious than knowing about this random ass jellyfish is when it's like, yeah, here's something that anybody would have been able to deduce. It's just, I got this information off screen or off the page.
Right.
So you would have been able to figure it out if you knew this one detail that I personally was keeping from you, so I can look clever, even though if you had been given that detail, you would have been equally clever. It's like, shut the fuck up.
And you find it much better when, like, during the actual investigation part of a story, the detective investigates something and then points out what they're investigating, rather than just keeping it close to the chest for no reason, and then you find out later.
Like, something else that I think goes into crafting a good detective, especially, that is underrated, is that it's not just about how clever the results are.
Right.
We want to see how clever the process is. And as, you know, as a damn good example of this, that, not quite a detective, but is similar roles, well, I guess one of them is a detective, Death Note, all right? If we want to keep it weeby,
yep.
Death Note, especially the first half, is really good at giving you the play-by-play of these thought processes, and you being like, oh yeah, these are very good things that you would need to consider. And so then you're able to resonate with that, and it's more compelling in that way, and you're brought into the world further. That kind of shit is dope, but it often gets sidelined for the worst of all mysteries are just, here's the mystery, blah, 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 stuff that doesn't matter, random solution out of my hat, fuck you. And we don't get to see any of the process. We don't get to go along on the journey. That's the worst shit, and that is what Sherlock is so guilty of.
And so many bad detective anime as well.
Yes. So, I am concerned when you say that we're gonna be doing a Sherlockian archetype.
Well, I say Sherlockian to kind of grossly simplify it.
Okay.
Because the idea of the show that we're going to be talking about is we have a very clever protagonist with a very specific specialty field, and because of situations she gets thrown into, she has to solve some mysteries and situations, but they are all within her area of her expertise. But there's added layers to it because Remington, this show isn't just about a random ass specialist detective. This is this show wears many hats, and I think it wears all of them very well. And I think I should just go straight into it, because Remington, the thing that we're going to be covering today is simply titled Kusuria no Hitorigoto, or simply translated, The Apothecary Diaries.
Okay, I've heard the weebs clamor for this, or at least some of them. Sometimes it's difficult for me to tell whether I've seen a lot of weebs talk about an anime I'm unfamiliar with, or if I've just seen one weeb mention it a lot in the Patron or Discord.
It's both.
Okay, cool.
And this is probably one of the most popular shows from the fall 2023 season. And it is a historical mystery drama with light romance elements.
Okay, all right.
Yep. And so the main central thing that you would tell people to get people interested in the show is, hey, it's about a young girl who is trained as an apothecary, and she ends up solving some mysteries related primarily to poisoning and medicinal stuff.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, and it's set in historical China as well,
Okay.
which, that's a pretty cut and dry, easy way to explain it. Where it gets more interesting is the fact that there's also a touch of romance in the background. Very slow burn romance, very slow burn. So much so that our main character doesn't really even understand the concept of romance. Definitely got some neurodivergent qualities to her, which I appreciate. And as well as political drama, because this whole story primarily takes place in what you could call the Mikado's garden, if you will.
Yeah.
And what do you think the Emperor of China has in his garden, Rem?
Oh, baby. I mean, a little bit of everything. Just sprinkling of everything up in that bitch.
Can you be more specific?
Honestly, how can you be more specific when you start with everything?
This bagel's already got everything on it. What more could you ask?
Yeah.
Well, I'll put it simply to you, Rem. The Emperor's Garden is essentially the place where all of his concubines are.
Ah, I see. Yep.
And men are not permitted to enter there, except for, of course, eunuchs. So, there's going to be some of that going on. And if you don't know
your favorite thing.
No. No, not at all. If anything, it's one of the most barbaric practices of history. Like that and foot binding come to mind.
Yeah, they're all pretty fucked stuff. But hey, if a guy doesn't have any balls, then you are one ball up on him. In the land of the eunuchs, the man with a single ball is king.
I hate this. I hate everything about this. Oh, God. But yeah, that is the overarching basic premise. But really, this is a story about our main character, Mao Mao.
All right.
And Mao Mao is the apothecary in question. She is the daughter of a fairly skilled apothecary who works in essentially the red light district of the capital. And one day, unfortunately, as is the case with the time period, she is kidnapped off the streets and sold into, I don't want to say the big S word, but basically she gets paid. But essentially, some ruffians kidnapped her and sold her off to the palace to work as a serving girl, essentially.
Seems like you're showing me some fucked shit, Sean.
It's a historical drama, Rem. A Chinese historical drama. Like, look, man, anytime you put the word historical in front of drama, you're gonna see some fucked shit if they're not, cowards. But she gets sent to this garden to work as a serving girl, and her cleverness and tendencies to understand medication and poisons gets discovered, and essentially she gets more or less hired on to help out with things occasionally in addition to her usual serving girl duties. And it's a lovely little drama story of the things that go on. There's a big overarching mystery throughout the whole story, as well as little mini mysteries per episode.
All right.
And it is a very beloved show. I actually rewatched the entirety of it recently to prep for this episode because I wanted to rewatch it. And another thing to keep things more relevant, season 2, currently airing.
I see.
So really, big brain, anniversary episode, season 2 of a popular show, highly requested. Me being nice to Remington, all great things, and all great things for the algorithm, as it were. You gotta think about that content mindset.
Oh, of course.
And I've been saving it for a special occasion, and what's more special than us spending 7 years together? I mean, we've been together longer than 7 years, but this particular part of our relationship is a 7-year anniversary kind of moment, and people genuinely think that you're going to enjoy it. People have recommended it to us in regards to it being a mystery series with other elements that they think you'll enjoy. Are the mysteries like the most over-the-top, grandiose things ever? Probably not. But are they interesting enough to keep you focused on them? Can you solve them while watching? Absolutely. The outside knowledge you need to solve some of these things is pretty minimal. Like, one thing that happens way later on is a experiment that involves, dyeing flowers. And I knew about that and felt so clever when they revealed that was the solution, It's one of those things where it's like, if some of the things are outside knowledge, they feel naturally brought in and feel somewhat appropriate for the time period. It's a lovely show. It's a very funny show, and our main character Mao Mao has so much personality. Let me just tell you.
All right, it seems like it has a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm.
But also that it can easily go wrong.
I mean, if you stop like that, then yeah. But look, Mao Mao's great. She's a weird little mad scientist cat girl. Is like the easiest way to describe her.
Yeah, of course.
And I love her for it. And, I hope you enjoy that because it's a special show. I like it a lot. And so does everybody else. And people want you to enjoy it as well. So that's why I'm trying to treat you on our anniversary, as well as airing your grievances about certain unfortunate tropes in your favorite genre.
All right.
So I think without further ado, let's go straight into it. Let's go watch The Apothecary Diaries. And we are back after watching 7 whole episodes of The Apothecary Diaries. 7 episodes, 7 years, and Remington, I'm sure that everybody, including myself, trying to give you a nice little treat and a chance to talk about things you hate is gonna be our most wholesome episode of the year so far. Surely you won't have any criticisms that are gonna make people sad or upset.
Look, Sean, there's some things I'm gonna say in this review that will have people rejoice and say, yes, perfect, exactly. There are other things where they'll want me to die.
Ooh, hey, Ren, that's a pretty big gap right there.
They will wish me to perish.
Well, hey, maybe if you perish, then our lovely little Mao Mao will be able to figure out how you died.
Yeah.
Though it'll likely be with pitchforks, so it's not really her area of expertise, but hey, she's a smart...
old pitchfork poisoning.
Just an overdose of pitchforks.
Yeah, poison is a matter of dose, and so, one pitchfork, probably too much for a person.
I mean, who knows? Maybe if you start with really small pitchforks, like if you just take like a dining fork, and then you build up a tolerance.
I'm reminded of, I think it was a really old, like, 4chan story of a guy trying to become immune to bullets.
Yes, by starting with small bullets and slowly increasing it.
Yeah, and...
Yeah, I know the exact story you're talking about.
It's an internet classic, truly.
Truly, truly. Back when 4chan was still awful, but at least there was an occasional bit of diamond to come out of it.
And joke's on you, that kid was me all along.
Oh, so you're saying you're bulletproof, but not pitchfork-proof.
No, yeah, I didn't test with pitchforks, unfortunately, so...
Ah, that's a shame. Pitchforks and bullets are very different, after all.
All right, Sean. So, I mean, I feel like, just with the premise of the show that we covered in part 1, that gives a good overview of just about everything.
And because, like, everything I talked about is how the flow of the show goes. Little mysteries mixed in with one overarching mystery that kind of happens in the background and we get more details on, plus all of the side stuff with the characters and a little bit of romance. It's a show that wears a lot of hats.
Yes, and so I actually, instead of doing episode by episode, I think breaking it down by kind of genre, as you said, it wears many hats. It dabbles in multiple genres. Namely, I think of 4 main genres. Okay. And you can say whether or not you think this is fair. There's mystery, obviously.
Yep.
There's political drama.
Oh, yeah.
There's romance. And there's slice of life.
Yeah, no, I think that just about covers it. I mean, like, if you want, like, historic would be more of a theme, I suppose, in this case. So, yeah.
Well, and it's in a weird liminal state where it is historic, but not. But it's,
it's set in historic China, but not actually in China. You know, it's got that.
It's like a Ghibli movie in Victorian England. All right, where it's like
exactly.
It kinda is. It's reminiscent.
Yeah, like a lot of the like setting and themes and cultural aspects are heavily taken from this section, but you know, it's not 100% historical accurate because, you know, why would you?
It's a bit of a hodgepodge of different stuff there.
Yeah.
So let's save obviously what I think is the biggest for last, and that's mystery.
Yes, and that's the one where I can't wait for you to start by being mean to me.
And that one I have the most takes on. But between slice of life, romance, and political drama, Sean, what do you think we should start with?
Well, I'll be honest. One of my favorite parts is the political drama. So maybe we sandwich it between the thing that, start with that. Because I think in the first 7 episodes, that is, we see the minimum of the political drama stuff. I wanted to give you 7 episodes to give you a good amount of it as much as possible, but the first season is 24 episodes, and the second season is currently airing. So, you know, there's a political drama takes time. So why don't we start with that one? Sure.
So within each one, I have some good and some bad. All right.
Right.
With the political drama, which I acknowledge, it really is only it's been backgrounded for most of it, but it's there. But it
is there.
But it's not the most prominent thing at this time. I think it ties in with the mystery element really well. It helps to provide a strong motivation. Really, I think the political drama is largely the glue to everything.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
And hey, as someone who enjoys
glue.
Enjoys glue. Boy, do I love glue. As a guy who enjoys history and political intrigue, I definitely vibe with a lot of these elements. Where I think this falters is political drama. It tends to be like a high tension kind of genre, and thus far, no, there's been insanely low tension. Partially, I think the biggest thing is Mao Mao is a real solid character, right?
Right.
Everybody else is usually fairly enjoyable, but extremely underdeveloped, so I'm not invested in anybody else at all. And if I'm not invested in all the other characters or the broader world, then it makes it really hard to care about, like, why they're scheming or what the big picture is going to look like. It's like, well, it doesn't really matter because I don't care about any of that yet. It's like me making up a fantasy world, right? And in this fantasy world, I'm in Shantopia, right? The great land of Shantopia.
Okay, hold on.
My beautiful fantasy world. In Shantopia, oh, you don't understand, Sean. If this bill passes, then the chancellor is going to be overthrown. Yeah, but I don't know if I care about the chancellor. I don't know if I care about the structure of society. I don't know. You're telling me it's kind of important, but I don't know shit. There needs to be more development. There needs to be more investment on that. But because, especially within these 7 episodes, I really only care about Mao Mao, then
I'd say that's fair.
Then it doesn't, all the external stuff, it's just set dressing, which can be fine as set dressing, but as like a true genre influence, it somewhat falters.
Yeah, and I will definitely say that as the show progresses, obviously you get more and more attached to these side characters. They start showing more and more of their personalities and what they're like and what they care about. And then you start to get a little bit more invested, and more of the political stuff does get developed. That is the hardest part of doing a first look kind of review about anything that has any level of political drama, because unless they very quickly get you invested in a large number of characters, it's going to be harder for you to be invested in that element.
Yeah, but also, like, we did watch 7 episodes, which is fairly substantial. Like, that...
It wears a lot of hats.
That ain't nothing. So, overall, the political drama, I like it aesthetically more than I do thus far in its execution. I think that it's a good narrative device to tie everything together, but I think it is, thus far, underdeveloped and a little bit misexecuted. With that, should we move on to the slice of life or the romance?
I think the slice of life is obviously the next way to go, because what is political drama if not the opposite of slice of life?
Yes, and you know, I mentioned Mao Mao is the character you care about. Mao Mao has a fun, unique, and charming personality. Mao Mao's just a little masochist, blunt freak. It's great. It's different than what we usually get. There's so many fun reactions, often from Mao Mao, but also from other characters. There's silly animated moments. There's a bunch of lighthearted humor, genuinely very enjoyable stuff a lot of the time. The side characters, while underdeveloped, they are nice as a conduit for Mao Mao doing fun stuff.
Yeah, because the amount of times Mao Mao does something and everybody around her has to be like, hey, don't do that?
Yeah.
It leads to some pretty humorous moments.
I think, compared to the political drama, the slice of life elements are very, very strong. Because Mao Mao is just a fun, interesting character, right? They are amusing to watch and amusing to, in the slice of life style. Just hang out and see what they're doing, see what they're up to, right? Just how they engage with the world. Yeah. It would be nice, sort of tying it back in, it would be nice if the other characters were a bit more relevant. They're mostly filler so far, and even the ones who aren't deliberate filler still mostly feel like filler. And so that's the thing, bringing down both the slice of life and the political drama. But at least on the slice of life front, Mao Mao is an extremely strong protagonist, and so that humor and that enjoyment really shines through here.
Yeah, all my homies love Mao Mao.
Like,
both in and out of universe.
Like, when I'm just thinking of when she's kicked out of the other concubine's pavilion, and she just
the crystal pavilion.
Yeah, she just completely still, sitting down, and they just animate her bouncing on the ground as a stepping stone, completely still. It's really good. It's a fun little bits of animation.
And just her little boing boing voiceover.
And yeah, once again, the reactions are great. High quality.
Yeah. I mean, I've been using Mao Mao reaction GIFs like in our Discord for months now.
Yeah. So then the third one, it's the romance, right?
Yep.
There's one main romance that it's not that it's a fully fledged romance, it's just playing with the romance thus far, right?
Yes.
And that is Mao Mao and Jinshi, who's the pretty eunuch.
Yes.
He's the pretty eunuch, and I imagine he's a fan favorite character. I hate Jinshi. He's trash.
That's where the pitchforks are coming from.
This is going to be a large area for pitchforks. Jinshi, besides Mao Mao, is, I would argue, the only other developed character so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
Others have like little seeds planted, but they're not at all developed yet. Jinshi is the only other developed character, and he's so fucking trash. The vast, like...
Oh, God, yeah, no, people are gonna be pissed at you for this one.
It's such a generic character that I'm so sick of. Like, you have something unique and special with Mao Mao, and then you're like, all right, but what if we have kind of this arrogant pretty boy who, you know, kind of just sexually harasses everybody, but he's actually a bit more cunning and has a bit more heart than at first it seems. And it's like, yeah, no, I've seen that a lot. I've seen that exact composite of traits a lot. And I just don't think I care about it. Like, I'm not swooning when he sexually harasses Mao Mao. I'm just not. I'm not like, oh, he's pretty, so it's okay. I'm sorry. Plus, even beyond that, once again, even if we removed all the sexual harassment, he's not an interesting character. He's so cliche. He's so fucking cliche. But, oh, he's pretty. Is that it? Is that fucking it? Come on, man. His only, like, half unique quality is that he likes to be degraded a little bit. But even first of all, that's not enough. And then second of all, that just ties way back into his sexual harassment. So it's just not, look, Jinshi is awful, and thus the romance doesn't work at all. Just scrap that whole fucking thing, all right? This whole bit that they try for, every time it fails. Every single instance that Jinshi and Mao Mao have a moment, it's awful, it's bad, get rid of it.
Oh God, yeah, nope. This is what's gonna make people angry more so than whatever you have to say about the mystery stuff. Because I'll tell you right now, Rem, people fucking love Jinshi. Let me tell you.
Because people love pretty boy, playboy, but actually he's smarter and more heartfelt than he seems. That's one of people's horniest archetypes. All right, that's near the fucking top of the horny archetypes.
Yep.
I don't care. I'm not. Look, man, I ain't watching this show one-handed. I'm not like, oh fuck, Jinshi. No, that's not. It's not doing it for me.
Are you doing that for Mao Mao?
No, but Mao Mao has character and personality, whereas Jinshi, that seems to be the only appeal I can fathom for him, and I don't think it lands. Mao Mao has appeal because they are an actual interesting character, and when you're like, hey, let's have a more creative and unique character, and then for the main supporting role, let's have the most cliche and obnoxious stereotype you've ever seen. And it's like, why did we do this? Why?
Well, as somebody who has spent a lot of time with Jinshi, don't read into that. I will say, as the story progresses, he does become more of an actual character with thoughts, feelings, and ambitions.
Well, no, because that's how the arc always goes. It's like, oh, look, he's a pretty boy playboy, but actually, there's more depth to him, guys. Like, that's part of the cliche, but I am so skeptical that it will actually be meaningful depth. It's the predictable exact arc you would always expect. I don't think it works. I think Jinshi is trash. I think people get seduced almost literally by Jinshi.
I mean, yeah, no, people are getting seduced by Jinshi all over the place, man. Trust me, I've seen it. I've watched it happen on several occasions. I've seen clips of people reacting to the show, and people are like, oh, hello, Jinshi.
So I guess I share this with Mao Mao. When Jinshi does that shit, I'm just like, what the hell? What the fuck?
Yeah.
So yeah, the romance, I don't think any of it is interesting, original, or done in any particularly good way.
Well, hey. For those of us who stuck around, let us know what you think as things progress. Because I know a lot of people like watching the show because of the romance as it developed. So we'll have to hear back from our audience and see what they have to say about it. See if they think that you're a wrong and a complete liar. I mean, they're gonna be pissed at you for your comments about Jinshi anyways, but maybe they have some interesting comments on the nature of the romance and their interactions itself.
And once again, I won't say that Jinshi is underdeveloped. He's the only other character who's gotten development. The only other one. I just don't think it's good development. I'm like, no, he should have been. Look, as far as I'm concerned, put him and the grape cunt just together.
Oh,
all right. God. As far as I'm concerned, the only difference is one of them is pretty. And the fact that one of them is pretty means that a bunch of people are gonna think that they're a better character, and that's just how it goes.
I cannot believe you're comparing him to the grape guy from My Hero Academia.
And I stand by it so much.
And I had to clarify that because people aren't going to realize who you mean when you say the grape cunt.
Nah, I think plenty of people.
I mean, yeah, weebs might, but generally speaking, like...
Look, unfortunately, that's most of our demographic, homie.
Yeah.
So, thus far, with the three, I think the romance is universally bad and does not work, and the competent parts are wildly unoriginal, and any bits of mild originality are not done competently with the romance. The political drama, it has some merit, but it isn't working yet. The slice of life is really working because of Mao Mao.
Yeah.
But the very important one is the mystery, all right? This was a major selling point, and Sean, before I get into evaluating it, I have some paperwork to do, all right?
Paperwork?
Notably...
This is an audio program, my man. We don't have any visual representation here.
That's fine. I have created a manifesto.
Oh, God, I remember you teasing this in the Discord. Okay,
because
all right.
Plenty of people don't seem to actually meaningfully understand my critiques and like reviews when I talk about, like, especially Sherlock and other things, blah, blah, blah. And what I think is a good mystery, what I think is a lousy mystery. Some people kind of get it, some people don't get it at all. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's a me problem, all right? Maybe I have not adequately communicated what makes a good mystery. And so, Sean, we're going to delve into a 7-point manifesto of the principles of a good mystery.
Using Apothecary Diaries as our comparison point.
Yeah, we're gonna dive in, and through so doing, not only will we be able to evaluate whether Apothecary Diaries is a good or a bad mystery, but we will also then be able to understand mysteries in general. All right? Note.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure this is going to be great for the comedy retention.
Hey, baby, look. I acknowledge that if people are just here for the jokes, fast forward.
We front-loaded the jokes.
I don't know, like 10 minutes. I don't.
Oh my God!
It's gonna be a minute. This is gonna be a substantial chunk of this episode. Is going to be me analyzing the mystery genre. For some of you, you're gonna be like, "Oh, that sounds dope. Congratulations, you hit a gold mine." Other people are gonna be like, I do not give a single fuck. Skip ahead a bit. I don't know how much, but like a fair bit.
Happy anniversary, Rem.
It's our anniversary. I can do what I want.
I don't. That's usually the goal of an anniversary on a content focus is to make something special and wonderful for our audience.
Sure. And John, here we are. We're talking about anime a lot, which you love for the anniversary, obviously. And so we're also doing a little bit of what I love, extremely in-depth analyses of media and genre conventions. All right?
Hold on.
So strap the fuck in.
Well, hey, look, man, I'm not going anywhere. We're late recording this one. Dylan's gonna kill us, so, you know.
I can't emphasize just, like, how I put genuine thought and effort into this.
Wait, are you trying to say you don't put genuine thought and effort into your other reviews?
Even more so, Sean.
Okay.
Because here's the deal, all right? If you go looking for principles of a good mystery, it's not easy to find something like that. Now, there's a handful of things. There's, like, Knox's Commandments, where this guy, he created 10 commandments of a good detective fiction, or Van Dyne's Rules, similar deal. And those have, like, some bits and pieces, but they're more specific to detective fiction than broader mysteries. And they also have some things that are just niche or nitpicky or kind of like tongue-in-cheek random. I want a genuine breakdown of what makes a good mystery story.
I just can't wait for Dylan to put in this episode's description something along the lines of, and meanwhile, Remington drops his manifesto.
All right, so, and after this, everybody will understand, one, what I mean when I say a good mystery, and two, I think just what makes up a good mystery. I think these things are genuinely insightful. And I will note, there can be good media that's a bad mystery, right?
Interesting. That feels like foreshadowing.
Who may or may not be. We'll have to see. I say this because you could be like, yeah, I enjoy Sherlock Holmes and I think it's good for these reasons. Maybe for the power fantasy of just, like, it's a character drama about a real smart guy doing cool stuff. And maybe you like that, and that's fine. In which case, yeah, as a character drama, you may think it works, but as a mystery, it doesn't. Put it into a different genre, or you enjoy it for reasons beyond the mystery. I'm just analyzing it from this frame. So this...
You're really nettled by the people who heavily disagree with your Sherlock opinion, aren't you?
It's not that they disagree, all right? If people disagree with me, that's a-okay. That's fine. It's when they misunderstand me. It's when I try my damnedest, Sean, to articulate my thoughts and my principles, and then the motherfuckers show up and they're like, so you just think because of blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, you didn't even fucking listen, you son of a bitch. So without further ado, here are the principles of a good mystery, all right?
Okay.
First, and this is an important one, it's the difference between Sherlock Holmes and any Agatha Christie story, and that is the principle of fair play, all right? For a good mystery, you gotta play fair with the audience. Information must be shared with the audience. Specifically, anything that is vital or necessary to solving the mystery that the detective knows needs to also be shared. It can't be withheld until the reveal and then plopped down randomly. That ain't playing fair. That's just to show, oh, look how intelligent this random person is. And some people are into power fantasies, whether it be shonen or detective fiction, but that's a lousy mystery. One caveat with this that you gotta be careful with is specialist information, all right? So say Sean knows everything there is to know about waifus and dakimakuras, right? He knows everything. And so he may be able, when cracking the case of the crusty Daki, he may be able to spot clues the average person wouldn't. How do you communicate these to an audience? Ideally, you're able to share them organically so that they know the relevance of these clues, right? But without framing it clumsily. If suddenly Sean mentions, like, exactly, how many goes it would take to make a Daki that crusty.
No.
You may wonder to yourself, you may be like, that's a weird thing to insert into this story, so it must be a major clue. You gotta have it somehow be organic so it's not framed. It's a little bit difficult, but on the other hand, if he just saw a crusty Daki and later reveals, yes, I know exactly how crusty it is because of my specialist information, that doesn't feel like fair play. You gotta find a balance. Specialist information doesn't need to be avoided, but it needs to be handled carefully.
You couldn't have given me something, I don't know, a little bit more respectable that I know about, because I know about a lot of things, Rem.
Do you?
Okay, that's just mean.
I love you so much, Sean. Happy anniversary. The second principle is, let's talk about the solution, all right?
Okay.
The solution, in its platonic ideal state, it should be logical yet surprising, right? That's what people want from a mystery. That's what they want the answer to be. The answer should never be contrived. And also the answer, here's the thing. A lot of people say the answer should never be obvious. I'm going to push back on that a little. It's okay for the answer to be obvious, but they need to, at some point or another, doubt it. Being obvious isn't the problem. If an answer is never in doubt, if you knew all along and never faltered from that answer, that's the problem. There should be a little bit of misdirection, a little bit of uncertainty. Even if the obvious thing is always there and pulling you, there should be other factors that at least get you to consider alternatives.
So you should be careful with conjecture, is what you're saying.
Oh, certainly.
Okay.
So there we go. That's the solution.
Okay.
Here's an important one, Sean. Here's an important one that is ignored so often, and yet I think it is a core to a good mystery. And that's the process. How many, especially if you look at, like, the BBC adaptation of Sherlock, how many times do you have Sherlock, he's presented with a mystery, and just very quickly, apropos of nearly nothing, he finds the solution, and it's like, wow, look how smart he is. Who gives a shit about that? That's a bad mystery right there. All right? The audience should be able to see the process of hypothesis generation, hypothesis testing, hypothesis falsifying. That's a very big one, all right? When detectives go wrong. The connections they make, the leads they decide to follow, what resources they decide to use. All of those things are rad as hell, all right? The procedure and the process are valuable in a mystery because it lets us know what the detective is thinking. You're not going to impress me with how intelligent your detective is by just being like, bada bing, bada boom, look at this impossible answer that they found apropos of nothing. Doesn't that make them so smart? No. But if I'm able to see their thought process, and it's a really smart, calculated, well-reasoned thought process, hey, that's a smart detective right there. Another thing that will often be excluded, because once again, so many stories, they want their detectives to be seen as super smart, right? And I get that. So they're like, so we can never have them fail. Bad move, all right? Failure, dead ends, misleading interpretations, false interpretations of clues. All of those are great. They don't diminish the intelligence of the detective if the process that the detective reached those false answers was rational and sound. And then even further, how they respond to those dead ends and how they respond to those mistakes. That can also clue us in to them as a character and as a detective. Very valuable stuff. You want to know what the death knell is, Sean?
What's that, Ron?
The death knell of the process for any mystery is when the process follows this very simple format. They get some minor information as a clue. They make a major inference based on that little clue, and that leads them to a certain solution. Nope, I fucking hate that. You're like, I noticed this little detail, which must mean this huge, unlikely thing that I couldn't possibly deduce, which then means with certainty that this guy did it. No, shut the fuck up. I hate you, and I want you to die if that's what you do. All right? No, any detective who does that is utter garbage. If you do that, you're dead to me. So that's a little bit about the process. All right? It's all making sense so far, Sean?
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, in fact, nothing you said is really new information to me, but then again, we've been doing this for a long time.
Oh, yeah, I've been ranting about it a lot. And I even think that a lot of people, it'll be familiar to them. But I think clarifying it in this way and organizing it in this way is insightful and valuable. Of course, if we're talking about mystery stories, we need to talk about point number 4, the mystery. Now, the mystery, it needs to have some kind of special appeal, all right? A reason why we are interested. Maybe it's because there's high stakes for the characters that we really care about. Maybe there's the puzzle is particularly clever or paradoxical. Maybe there's a lot of thematic depth. Or learning more, it helps us learn more about a world or setting that we're very invested in, and this is our way to get answers about it. The mystery just needs to be doing something more than, for example, showing how impressive or smart the detective is. If the sole reason a mystery exists is to show how smart the detective is, that's a bad mystery, dog. It needs to stand on its own, all right? This would be a fascinating mystery regardless of the detective who's investigating it, right? Otherwise, the focus is on just the detective rather than the mystery, and that could be an interesting story. It ain't a good mystery. What about clues? We need to talk about some juicy clues, and that's point number 5, all right? The clues and the red herrings. Clues need to be logical. That feels somewhat obvious, but goddamn, it's worth stating because...
Look, I remember when we did the episode on Moriarty the Patriot. You were not very happy.
Yeah, or you know those like classic point-and-click games, good old Moon logic, where you're like, I'm supposed to do what? What the fuck? That's often how a lot of bad mysteries feel, where you're like, excuse me, how the fuck does that lead to this? That being said, any individual clue can and should have multiple possible inferences, all right? Any individual clue shouldn't be the only clue needed to solve the case. It should instead give a few options, have a few different possible implications, and then all of the clues together, they should point undeniably and exclusively to the one solution. Let's talk about red herrings. I know you love to lie, Sean. It's one of your favorite things.
Okay, now don't make me sound like some kind of bastard here. It's not lying I like, it's misdirection.
Wait, perfect. Casey, really, if anything, that's the difference we want to get to. Misdirecting your audience is better than lying to your audience, all right? You can sometimes get away with a clever lie if you frame it well enough, but man, you have to be extremely, any of these rules can be broken, so long as most of the others are followed. But like an unreliable narrator can be dope in a detective story where the detective, you think you're on their side and investigating with them. Oh no, the real detective is somebody else, and this person may be a perpetrator. Yeah, break the rules, shake it up, but follow most of the other principles at the very least. When it comes to red herrings, red herring clues should provide clever misdirection. They need to be believable. And then ultimately, they must either be demonstrably faulty or explained away. Red herring suspects or theories, they should be meaningful, alluring, and ultimately disprovable. And finally, and here's an important point, the mystery should still be compelling and unsolved, even if the audiences see through the red herrings. Because how many times have you been watching a mystery and you can tell it's trying to lead you one direction, but you caught on to an early clue, right? Showing that it can't go that direction. And then you're like, okay, so it's obviously just the only other option is this then. That's not satisfying, because then it just keeps throwing the red herring at you, and you're like, I know that's not true, and there's only one other option.
It's almost like a certain animated series you made me watch last year for April Fools.
I don't know what you're talking about, Sean. We only cover the highest quality mysteries in April Fools.
Oh, really? So you heard it here first, folks. Rem thinks Velma is a high-quality mystery.
I think of it more as a drama with light horror elements.
It ain't that. I'll tell you what, it certainly ain't that.
Here's an important one, Sean, as we get to point number 6, all right? The detective themselves. This is your Sherlock. This is your Poirot. This is your Mau Mau. The detective, they first should have a personality and character separate from detective, right? They shouldn't just be a detective. They need to have a little bit more under the skin. They should have some personality, and that personality should inform and highlight how they go about their work, their strengths and weaknesses, their procedure, right? That way, there's a little bit of something to them. And that way, it's more interesting to see how their process works because it's unique to them. They also, and this, if anything, it's not the hottest take, but it's a mildly spicy take, all right?
Okay.
Because a lot of people like their detectives to be power fantasy nonsense, the smartest person to ever live. Holy shit, look how big their brain is. I don't care about any of that. I don't find power fantasies interesting, so I don't find a power fantasy that like puts on Sherlock's cap interesting either. Detectives should not be the sole source of insight or understanding within the story. Now, they should be probably the most proficient or the best to be in their role, but not everybody observes everything, not everybody knows everything, not everybody makes every possible connection. All right, so having a buddy cop, an assistant, or just like somebody they met through the mystery that provides fresh new perspectives, shares some knowledge the detective may not have, challenge the detective's assumptions or biases, that is valuable and very worthwhile. That is great. Have more of that. It humanizes the detective, and then it also shows that while they may be missing pieces of the puzzle, once they're provided those missing pieces, then what do they do with it? And then they can be really impressive and smart. And it goes against people who just want the power fantasy, but those people don't want actual mysteries in the first place, all right?
Well, are you telling me you wouldn't want to watch Goku and Vegeta try and solve a mystery?
I might, but that'd be because it strangely wouldn't be a power fantasy in that, because with the specific skills they have,
which means
they'd
none.
be kind of they'd be kind of a mess, a strong mess. Oh man, if they ever get into a fight, they're winning. But putting together clues, that might be a little bit more interesting. And then the final point, it's very simple. Beyond the detective, characters. Oh wait, one more point about the detective. I'm sorry, just one last point on that.
Okay.
Nice and simple. The detective needs to make active decisions to push the story and investigation further. All right? Maybe they're quiet or subtle or surreptitious, but they gotta be active.
Mm-hmm.
If you just have a passive person just who the information just happens to land upon them, who gives a shit? The mystery solved itself. That's not a mystery. So the final point, beyond the detective, all characters should be distinct and interesting, and especially important is that any relevant character, culprit, suspect, and or red herring has a strong, internally consistent motivation that fits their personality. All right? Not all characters should need to have identical motivations. It's okay to be like, Why the fuck would this motherfucker make this decision if the answer is that's kind of who they are, as we have already seen multiple times. Now, if every character is a stupid dumb fuck and that's the only way your plot works, probably not a good plot. But if you got one stupid dumb fuck and they make a mistake that, yeah, that stupid dumb fuck would make, yeah, that's fine. That's okay. So those are the 7 principles of a good mystery. All right?
Okay.
Now, let's slot in Apothecary Diaries and see how well it fares.
Okay. And did you want to put a disclaimer at the front of this not to kill you?
Look, we'll see, all right? At this point, it's not me. It's just the facts, whatever comes up.
Oh, I see. So really, at this point, this is just raw clinical data. And whatever comes out, it just happens to be the truth, and we have to live with that truth.
Yes. You understand,
Fantastic.
Sean. Perfect.
No.
I'm glad you agree.
let me just say, first and foremost, I love this series, so direct all complaints to Remington Chase there.
Hey, and right now, I'm not disputing one way or the other. I'm not making any claims about the quality of the series. Right now, I'm just evaluating whether it is a good mystery. All right?
All right.
Maybe it is,
Well,
maybe
let's
it's
get
not.
straight into it.
All right, principle 1, fair play. I'm going to give it like a C on this one. All right?
Okay.
Maybe, probably C minus if I'm being honest. Because it
right.
does show a lot of foreshadowing and hints, but there is a lot of that classic Sherlockian bullshit of pulling an answer out of your ass, and with information we don't know. Sometimes the specialist information is shared with us in a solid way. Other times it's just sort of randomly pulled out. So I think it's not as bad as Sherlock often is, by far. But it's still a little subpar on the fair play principle. It'll still occasionally show some good clues and hints, but very often it won't show us all of the clues and hints. What about the solutions? They should be logical, yet surprising. They shouldn't be contrived. With this one, I'm going to give it a C plus in this one. All right, just ever so slightly a little bit above average.
Okay.
Because I do think that it is quite logical. I don't think there's thus far been too many surprises necessarily, and some has dabbled into the contrived. I've yet to hit a great aha sense of wonder and eureka from one of the mysteries, but I've not been insanely disappointed by the solutions it's come up with. So it's kind of middling on that front. The process. Unfortunately, the process I have to rank pretty low. The thing I said about there shouldn't be minor information leads to a major inference, which leads to a major solution. That's certain. Yeah, that happens a lot. That happens a lot of times. Mao Mao will randomly notice a small detail and conclude with make a bunch of inferences and then say with 100% confidence what the solution is, and it all works. It happens a lot, and it's not great. And we sometimes see bits and pieces of the process. Usually, though, we end up seeing them after the fact. It's not. This thus far is the most lacking. What about the mystery? All right, each mystery thus far, it's been very episodic, though there's also been implications of a more overarching thing, which obviously I can't rate too much. The episodic mysteries, they're probably gonna get a D, possibly a D minus, if I'm being honest. They're mostly vessels to show how smart Mao Mao is thus far. They're not doing a whole lot beyond that. They're very bare bones and by the books. I can't think of a mystery that we've covered in the first 7 episodes where I'm like, wow, that's so insanely clever. I'll move it up to a D plus because at least it does imply it speaks to the world with quite a few of its mysteries, even if I don't think it's done enough to make me care about the world. So a D plus on the mystery. Clues and red herrings. Another D minus, I suppose. Well, a D. The clues, many of the clues are logical when they're shared with us after the fact, but they don't have a lot of possible interpretations. They just lead to the one thing that they have to be, and there hasn't been much clever misdirection. I don't know, at one point they were like, maybe it's a ghost. All right, so here's why it's obviously not a ghost. It didn't last long. They didn't even really play with the idea much. The detective. All right, Mao Mao, fantastic character. All right, needs to have a personality that informs their thing. Oh, baby, yes, undeniably. Curious, learned a bunch, knows especially about poisons and medicines and all this fun stuff. 100%. That informs their process and the types of mysteries they handle. Just overall, even just like the premise and the kinds of mysteries it is, top quality shit. All right? Which makes it sad that I'm probably going to rate this one a B- because unfortunately, a lot of it, I really like Mao Mao's character. I don't give a shit about Mao Mao as a detective because it's just the same Sherlockian bullshit. It's just, oh yeah, Mao Mao will know the answer. I don't know, just Mao Mao knows it. That's just how it goes. Mao Mao will figure it out every single time very easily without any problems. Mao Mao doesn't even really face adversity. Any adversity Mao Mao faces is largely ignored or just like shrugged off. It's like, it doesn't really matter anyway. And then any moment of possible adversity, right? Like one moment where she's talking to a soldier about him taking her outside of the palace, right? Because he gave her a hairpin and it's blah, 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 cultural stuff. And the guy is initially like, oh, no way. And you're like, oh, maybe things won't work out Mao Mao's way. And then Mao Mao is just like, all right, but here's why it will work out my way. And in the span of 10 seconds, yeah, it works out perfectly. Just everything works out perfectly and easily for Mao Mao. That's not a very interesting detective. Mao Mao doesn't care about what little adversity comes to them. I don't care. I like their character, but yeah, B-. It could have been a slam dunk, but unfortunately it's not. Beyond the detective, all the other characters in the world and stuff should be vibrant and distinct and interesting. I'm gonna give it a D. There's a lot of interesting like seeds planted, but not. Look, Mao Mao is the only reason I give a shit thus far. I don't really care about the world. I don't really care about other characters. Mao Mao has a best friend that, honestly, it just seems like she tolerates. The friend is way happier to be around Mao Mao, and they only serve expositional purposes thus far.
Yeah, she gets more of a spotlight in season 2, and she's an actual character by that point. So
yeah,
you know.
Thus far, it's just, why care about anybody but Mao Mao? And that it heavily impacts everything else. And so ultimately, we have a mystery that has a strong personality of the detective, but there's a lot of Sherlockian bullshit. There's not a lot of tension. Our detective is always right and finds the answers miraculously and easily. There's a bunch of insane observations and inferences that never fail. We hardly see any of the process. And the mysteries are very basic. I think it's a pretty bad mystery. And so that means that mystery, I don't think it works. Political drama, I don't think it works. Romance, it really doesn't work. But slice of life, it mostly works. I want this to just be slice of life, because then it wouldn't matter that everything just works out for Mao Mao, because, like, I don't need the tension. It's slice of life. It's fine if everything works out for a slice of life main character. I'm just here to enjoy them. But, like, for political drama or especially mystery, if you have no tension and they're just always right, it loses a lot. It loses a lot.
Ooh, baby, people are gonna wanna revisit. I can hear it on the horizon.
7 episodes is a lot of episodes.
Yeah, it is. But man, 24 episode first season.
Look, man, if you can't make it work in 7 episodes, I am skeptical. And once again, it has a lot of merit, right? Overall, I think the show fails at more than what it succeeds in the first 7 episodes. But what it succeeds, it really succeeds at. Mao Mao is great, all right? That's the long and short of it. Mao Mao is great, everything else kind of ass. I feel like Mao Mao belongs in a fun 4 coma, all right? Put Mao Mao in like a webcomic or something like that, and I think she thrives.
So you don't think this light novel adaptation cuts it, huh?
No, I don't think this is, because it just falls into all of the same traps. It's extremely Sherlockian in a lot of the worst ways. Not as bad as Sherlock. Not as bad, but not a lot better. It's not a ton better, and that's unfortunate.
Okay then, Rem. Tell me what you would rate this out of 10 then. We haven't asked you for an out of 10 rating for a hot minute.
I would rate it kind of in the 4 to 4.5 range. Just it's just ever so slightly bad. Because Mao Mao is great. Everything else is actively trash. And so the 4.5 is exclusively Mao Mao. That is, Mao Mao is for each of those points.
Yeah, we're gonna get a lot of requests for a revisit on this one, I can tell you that much. Because, Rem, now that you've given your opinion, what do you think the Mao score for this show is?
Oh, God, I think it's insanely high. I think the weebs love power fantasies, whether that's shonen or detective, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And if anything, a detective power fantasy makes the weebs feel smarter than a shonen power fantasy. Because they're like, yeah, the character is smart, so I'm smart for watching the character. And so the weebs are going to love that. I think people will love the bad romance. It does genuinely have a unique and different, like, setting and vibe, which I genuinely appreciate. And let's see, I think it's going to be, like 8.38.
That your final answer?
Yeah, I think it's going to be high. I think I might be underselling it, honestly.
All right. Well, Rem, currently at the time of recording, with the second season actively airing as we speak, the Apothecary Diaries has a whopping 291,000 ratings on Mal right now. And it's only, a year and a half old at this point, which is, I don't know, pretty substantial.
Yeah.
And with it, you were right about one thing. It's definitely an 8. It's sitting nice and pretty at 8.88.
Woo!
This is currently the 23rd highest ranked show on Mal. And I'm about to send you the breakdown of the scores, and, you're going to notice something quite obvious.
Jesus Christ.
Haters of this show are few and far between.
I come by it honestly, ladies and gentlemen.
You are, quite frankly, I think, this show's biggest hater.
Hey, man, I may also be the most reasonable hater, because...
Oh, no, yeah, I'm not saying you're not reasonable. You're just big.
Look, I'm not here just dissing it for no reason. I broke shit down, all right?
Oh, no. Hey, that's why I'm not pissed at you. I can't say anything about the people who tune into this for that
But
very first
at the very
episode.
least, what I hope, all right, even if the people disagree with me, hopefully they will at least understand the mystery genre more. And see, because there were a lot of people who seemed to be under the impression that this was a great mystery that would change my mind. And I'm sorry, guys. You may like it for other reasons. Or you could say, oh man, it becomes such a stellar mystery later, which means nothing to me. The first 7 episodes, it's not a good mystery story. At the very least, all right?
And let me just say, if you want us to revisit this sooner rather than later, please send us your recommendations, because I have a sneaking suspicion that the fans of this show are going to be very adamant that we come back to this one soon.
Look, Jinchi is a lost cause, okay? Jinchi, it's not that I haven't seen enough of him. I've seen so much of him. He's trash.
You hate eunuchs that much, Rem?
No, just this one.
Just this one. This eunuch
the
is
other
garbage.
ones are great. Like his assistant, I assume the doctor must be a eunuch. The doctor is great. I enjoy the friendship between the doctor and Mao Mao so much more than Mao Mao and Jinchi, all right? I don't want it to be a romance, but I love their friendship, and it's so good.
Well, I will give you some hope. There is lots more of their fun little interactions.
Yeah, that's great.
Because the doctor is a bit of a quack, unfortunately, but, he tries
yeah,
his
but
best.
that adds to the just whole amusement of it all. Like, that's really... Once again, as this show succeeds by far the most in being a slice of life, that's just never the dominant focus. It's always there, but it's never the thing.
Well, hey, I can't wait for when we eventually revisit this and you get to tell everybody the exact same thing again, and they'll be even more pissed at you.
Look,
be great
motherfuckers, I'm not afraid to read out that whole manifesto again in a revisit, right? You think I won't because you're like, Rem knows that that's bad content. Rem knows that's terrible. And yet...
Just make it a reoccurring bit anytime we have a mystery-centric story. You whip out the manifesto and be like, all right, let's go through... All right, class, let's go through one by one this anime and see what it does for the mystery charts.
Not every mystery story, just any mystery story that people think is a good mystery or that I will like, despite it violating the principles. All right?
You know you're going to have to post this manifesto, right?
Sure. I'm happy to. Happy to.
Yeah.
It'll, I don't know, maybe it'll be in the description of the video or something, or who knows, it'll be somewhere. Maybe it'll be on the Discord. Maybe we'll send it over to the person who runs the Blue Sky. I don't know yet.
Either way, I'm sure people will be fascinated to read it. God almighty. All right, then, Rem. I guess the final question I need to ask you is, any chance you'd want to watch some more Apothecary Diaries?
Not really. I think a Mau Mau highlight reel would be enjoyable.
Oof. Well, we're definitely doing a revisit now. So with that in mind, thank you all so much for tuning in for 7 frickin' years.
It's crazy.
Holy hell. That's insane. We really, really appreciate it. And if you'd like to support us even more, you can head on over to wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review. They mean the world to us, and we do read every single one. Or if, you want us to grow on YouTube or something, you can, hit that like button, because we're on YouTube, apparently. You know? I mean, it's just the podcast done in a YouTube video format, but some people prefer that. Make use of their YouTube Premium. You know, I get you. And if that is still not enough for you, twitch.tv/anime out of context, where myself, Dylan, and Remington occasionally play video games very poorly. And if that is still not enough, patreon.com/anime out of context, where you gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including having the opportunity to be thanked live on the podcast. So, Rem, who are we thinking this week?
Well, as always, we would like to send our regards to all of our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But moving on, we get to our yandere waifus, who are subtly poisoning us, maybe to kill us, or maybe just to build up that immunity. And on that list, we have PJSK Addict asks Sean if he's seen Alien Stage, her favorite anime. Have you seen Alien Stage, Sean?
Sounds familiar.
That sounds like no.
Yeah, look, man, Rem, if you asked me how many anime I've seen, I can't think of it off the top of my head, unfortunately.
Yandere Neko, Wolfire56, where's our DBC reviews, Ginger Fuck? Welcome to Anime in Full and Complete Context, the show where, watching Requiem for Spoon Man at 0.5 speed, wake up to this nightmare that will never end. Variant, totally good. Tidro says, thank y'all for tolerating all us horny patrons. Titan CNH, there are 2 sexes, the one Sean has with Judy Hopps and the one Sean has with the Pope. It's real good.
That is incredibly cursed, sir.
See, at first you think, oh no, is this gonna be some weird, transphobic thing? No, it's gonna be horny about Sean and his 2 loves.
Look, I will say that ever since...
How have you and the Pope been?
I will say, ever since that episode dropped, a bunch of Genshin fans would be like, you should have went with the Genshin character. And I'm like, look, gang.
Look, gang, the heart wants what it wants.
Okay, no,
and it wants the Pope.
Look. Wheels are cursed. That's all I'm going to say.
The Suicinator. The Sean block is so bad, it made the Pope horny. The Pope! A high Pope ratio so far. The Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Christ.
The Danish Viking will conquer the world with Werner Zoro as my navigator. That time I reincarnated as podcast host and forced to weeb. That smut has no place in Fairy Tale's 100 Girlfriends. Turban. Teddy Bear Creator Story. Dylan, read it please. Super Zoo, Strife 54849, is wondering why Sean hasn't yet commented on the reference I've been making for the past few weeks now regarding you. And then it gets cut off.
Tragic. We'll never know.
Stacy's mom. Sean's golden nut in bunny butt. Sean wants to give Spoonman a thank and yank. Sean's hair apparent. Sean's bunny insemination clinic.
Oh my Christ.
Sean, you can come soak in mommy. Sean thinks soaking doesn't count for sister rule. Sean.
No!
The Sean block is out in force today. Sean, thank you for being such a good sport. Sean ruined my happy sugar life when he became the #1 soak goat for his wheel cult and #1 nut. Sean, quit soaking with my grandma, please.
I'm gonna commit Sudoku.
Sean might make a rent-a-girlfriend account soon, and Sean, instead of soaking, cut a hole in the sheet, put it over your partner. You can legally thrust then. #1 nut Raleigh.
You guys are getting too creative.
Look, the Sean block is a great part of every patron reading. Seraphim the Shark plushie, Ryan Moody, Ross Palmer, Robert Beebe, Rhiannon Williams. Remington is right. Rem uses the drums of liberation to free all weeps from bad anime. Rem ties my mommy milkers into balloon animals. What the fuck?
Oh wow, it's rare for you to have a weird one.
That was like a maximally weird one. That was just
Like someone must have just felt bad for me.
Your brain like tries to wrap your head around it, but it like never quite can, so it just keeps trying, you know? Rem hit rock bottom is still on top of Sean. Rem doesn't completely hate my favorite shows. Rem asks Sean about teddy demons and eggplant seals. Pardon me? Red Venom, Raptor King, Professor Fox. Pro tips out of context, I won't Google soaking, but did you know, Sean, that the heretical Bethel Church practices grave soaking? PJ Turtle, Pockwell Musico. Whatnut Rollins soaking with Pope Francis and Judy. Miss Baggy Pant. Miska's trying to figure out...
Why am I in a throuple now?
Figure out how to get in on this villainous racket, says Miska, rifling through a stack of light novels. Mikeka 7 Hierto, Macaroni Uchiza. Lucky Jamie started listening with Corey 6 years ago. Lucky Star is the king of Moe. Link Joe Curl, Leonard 98, King Rich Rock, Cassidy, Jax, Jam Hands, Jake Dent, Ixa Murai. Is this Spoon Man or Moon Sparm? I'm making Rem say ethnic slurs until you bring back the Chef and Musco tier, Sean. You all right? Once again, I gotta see you.
You gotta Google it just to make sure.
I don't know. Is this one fine? Yeah. All right.
I mean, if not, Dylan consents.
Yeah, Sean, you Buell. That sounds fine. That seems
I don't
okay.
even think I've heard of that one.
I will never get more Ace of the Diamond. Now I cry. I lied. Changing names each week is too much. Wes K. I did the jump hump for Rem and Sean soaking. I can't believe I made an account for this. Hey, Sean, your other nut is still under my pillow. Tell Dylan the Nut Fairy to give me my money. Had to get glasses because my eyes suck. Gordon Ramsay's raw sausage. Goon General Sean. Why is it so hard to find a goth mommy to soak in? Glenn Michael Dolan, G-Thing72, Fern the Fern.
This podcast is the reason I'm single.
Firma Weep due to terror shenanigans, Stocky Marcher might be canceled. Hey, it is what it is. It's tragic, but it's the state of the world. Don't worry. Sean will celebrate his own way. Fantide, Erica McCorkle, Darth Gator, Daniel Riot, Daddy Rem, tell me a bedtime story. Calderius, Comrade JC, Chloe, short for Cloaca, Cheese Monkey, Cat Girls are best girls, so give me them cute little paws. Call back to Sean saying Jelly is his waifu. Rock hard for Geodudes. How do you like that, Obama? I pissed on the moon, you idiot. Boring Siren. Blackout drunk before butt stuff, says Miska. Bento Kato. And every day that Raven comes to visit, says Misaka. Amazing Muffin. AJ Tunnels now making comics on Patreon. Aisha Gudgy. A moe piece of trash. And now we move on to the Boy Wizard tier. Sean, what are they going to get this week?
To honor best character Mao Mao, everybody is going to get a medicinal plant.
And hopefully we can all still agree on that point that Mao Mao far and away is the best character. Like, it's not even close.
That was never a contention.
Okay, all right, cool.
Nobody was going to argue with you about that. Everybody loves Mao Mao. The thing they're going to argue about is literally everything else.
Whoops, I forgot to change my username for a month and called Sean a cuck for a month.
Gum Arabic.
Wherefore art thou, Remio? I crave thine big hole.
Common Yarrow.
Umbrasite.
Black Cohosh.
Truckgoon operator number 42.
Horse Chestnut.
That mouse girl.
White Snake Root.
Thanks to Super Soaker Sean, my sister and I have never been closer. Hashtag don't fuck your sister.
Oh my god. Common Hollyhock.
Spoonman the Aristocrat.
Water Plantain.
Silent Secondary.
Garlic.
Shilling time for Bang Dream, it's my go, and Ave Mujika says Miska nods in agreement.
Aloe Vera.
Sean says soaking's best with motion of the ocean.
Christ. Marshmallow.
Scourge has Miska and IRL girlfriend now.
Oh, congratulations. Cognac.
Sammy K is all caught up after remembering she's a patron.
Common Hepatica?
Roscott.
Garden Angelica.
Nurikaza, the Russian otaku, just turned 23. Happy birthday.
Don Quai.
Monogatari is everything you ever said you like in anime. This week it's creative, distinctive, fresh, and different.
Celery.
Misaka wants to know why you played Haruhikake. Why? Yells Misaka as she scolds Rem. I'm in love with you. I don't know what that is. Should I know what that is? Why am I being scolded?
I'm sure they'll explain it to you next week.
I feel like I should know if I'm the one being scolded.
You know what you did, Rem.
What do they get?
They get Burdock.
Miska still wants to know why you played that song. Why did you play Harukake? That sounds like a Dylan thing. Did Dylan do it? Why am I being scolded?
I think Dylan put some extra songs in the last episode. Because
is that one of the songs? That ain't. But then why am I being scolded?
I haven't listened to the show.
But then why am I being scolded?
Because it was probably played over something you were saying.
Yeah, fair enough.
So really, and the fact that it's being associated with you probably means that you're in trouble because of it.
I'm so curious now.
Yeah. Even if you were to listen to that part of the episode, I'm sure it wouldn't mean a damn thing to you.
Yeah. Well, what do they get?
They get Astragalus.
Miska is a regulation listener that used to listen to Face Jam, but now listens 100% Eat, says Miska.
And something that folks will quickly realize, medicinal plants are otherwise known as plants. They get belladonna.
Mike.
Neem.
Miguel de Leon.
A daisy.
Kira suggests that she trains Tails in exchange.
Barbary.
It's February, time for Bang Dream, it's my go, and Ave Mujika, says Misuka, who's playing Haruhikage.
Borage.
Hidden Otaku.
Marigold.
Crimson Reapers, just because of the scythes.
Cannabis.
Carver 271.
Cayenne.
Captain Beagleboy asks Sean bullshit rule.
Hey, look at that. Look what we just did.
Yeah.
Chili.
Butler Rat got the 3-room, 700-foot squared apartment moving in April 1st, while Kiryu looks to be taking longer, so Sephiroth will have to wait.
Papaya.
Blood Cell thinking about changing his name to Power Cell, but is worried about the mitochondria joke, says Misuka.
Sao Caetano melon.
Beethoven 1201.
Cornflower.
Back on that Monogatari grind.
Vetiver.
Also, you get the big hole.
The bitter orange.
Alpha Papa Palpatine.
Lemon.
Allfather says Sean's favorite fantasy movie franchise is Lord of the Nuts, one nut to rule them all.
Christ. Velvet leaf.
And now we move on to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where this week, Sean, as Joey Wheeler, will present a strange mystery that's been happening in their life, and I will solve that mystery through cunning deduction. We start with Rowdy-O.
The case of the missing milk.
Case of the missing milk. You think back, where could it have gone, and then you remember. There was a moment just a few days ago where you started drinking a bunch of milk. Now, from this, you can deduce that you drank the milk. Next up, we got Pumpin'.
The case of male loneliness.
Trying to figure out, you can see a few different clues. You start listening to some podcasts and you're like, no, that's a bad idea. Don't do that. That's not, they don't have the fucking answers right there. And so you start looking into it, and there's a lot of different answers, but you start realizing all of the different answers, why it's becoming more difficult to socialize, why there seems to be greater divisions. Hey, baby, it's all capitalism. Next up we have, I really need someone to schlonk my shit stupid style, or I'm gonna commit a minor inconvenience.
I don't know what it is, but like that combination of words got me.
Sean loves to schlonk someone's shit.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
What's that mystery?
That mystery is the mystery of keep it lighthearted, Sean. Don't do that one. The mystery of how of truly how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop.
You look back, you know that for an owl, it takes 3 licks. And you know that people are bigger and stronger than owls. And thus, it takes 2 or less. Next up, we got... Next up, we got... Hey, Sean, how much for you to gift... Hey, Rem, how much for you to gift me, Sean?
The mystery of... why anybody would want to possess me.
And you see, there's, oh my god, there's a bulge in his pants. Is that just a bunch of magic cards? No, it's his giant dick. And last but not least, we have follow anime out of context on Blue Sky. Having 7 years on the pod, here's to another 7 years of anime Remington from your social media manager. I don't know about another 7 years. Let's see what's on there now. Happy 7 years again to the boys. Big shout out to Sean for using their idea of the Wheel of Revisits. How will they celebrate? Maybe using the wheel again, or how about revisiting the popular anime? No, we didn't revisit shit. Or will Rem take control? I mean, kinda, but not for the episode. We did. Yeah. There's just a couple of those around.
Right.
Oh, what do they get? What's their mystery?
That mystery is trying to figure out what's wrong with the housing crisis in America.
Oh, shit.
To solve that one, bitch.
From the cunning deduction, you look around and you're like, hey, there seems to be a whole lot going on. And you decide, oh, I know the solution. And it is to surrender to the abyss, the peaceful, beautiful abyss.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's keep it light.
Keeping it light. Oh, God.
Thank you all for tuning in. If you want to reach out for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, then you can send an email over to animeoutofcontext@gmail.com. Or, hey, you can send a message over to AnimeConPod on Blue Sky, but, That
That's
isn't
not
us, but you can. You can send messages there, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because, like, gonna be real with you, dog. Twitter, like, we haven't touched our Twitter in a hot minute.
Yeah, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, hot damn. But, I mean, I'm on Blue Sky. You can go there and follow me if you like. I mean, I occasionally post about random things.
Or you can
I don't
email
have-
Sean at huge
No,
giant
no,
dick.
no. Once again, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love and appreciate you very, very much. And as always, don't fuck your sister.
Do 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 do.